fatigue and how to avoid it. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm with the IdeaPros marketing team, and I have Fred Cary,
Hey, everybody.
CEO of IdeaPros. Hello. Let us know if you're watching in the chat. But Fred's actually got something special planned for us. Clearly, he's not tired because he has an exciting show for us.
Yeah, well, clearly he is tired, and this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. We're out doing a capital raise now, on top of working with all the partners that we work with, and if you are a partner of mine, you know the hassles, the frustrations, the delays, the pivots that we face every single day. Multiply that times a few hundred, and it gets really, really tough. And I have a lot of my partners, even after they launch. I was talking to somebody yesterday who launched, who had raised 150,000 in the last couple of weeks, raised another 150,000. She's doing really, really well, kicking butt, and she's tired too. And we all face that as entrepreneurs. And so what I call founder fatigue is like the next step before you get to burnout. And we don't want you to get to burnout for sure. So we want you to be aware of founder fatigue, and then we're going to talk to you about it and just figure out what we can do about it. Okay, we're going to, at the end of this, we're going to have a blog on the subject as well that you'll be able to go on our website and see. But let's just talk about a little bit about what founder fatigue really is. And then I'm going to ask you how many of you are facing any of these issues. So, basically it's physical, mental, emotional exhaustion that we get as entrepreneurs because of the intense demands that we have, the pressures that we have of trying to run a startup and to try to get it moving. It's hard, as we all know, and it takes way longer than we think it's going to take. We move a lot slower than we want to move. There's all this frustration, anger, doubt, things that set up. And the problem with those things is you end up facing a loss of motivation, decreased productivity, and then a sense of being overwhelmed. And I know I've been there, done that, and I have ways to try to overcome those feelings. But next morning, it's like Groundhog Day. You wake up and you've got those same feelings all over again, and you deal with them throughout the day. By the end of the day, you're productive, things are rolling along. Next morning, same thing happens. And this, by the way, I was watching the CEO of Airbnb.
I was
This
going to
is
say.
exactly what he went through. The whole Groundhog Day thing, where every morning he'd wake up, heart palpitations, sweating, not knowing whether or not they were ever going to make it, and and, um, and these are some of the ways that he dealt with them as well. So when we talk about things like decision making, right? When you get to that point of the fatigue, you're going to experience things like poor judgment and maybe even increased risk taking because you just want to get it done, you want to do it, you want to go to the next step, it's not going fast enough, and you're going to make some moves that trying to rush things but are going to make things worse instead of better. And another thing that we do is we really get physically exhausted because we're using our brain power so much and we're creating so much stress within us. Like how many here, if you just give me a thumbs up, have gone through that, like the increased stress levels, the kind of feeling of exhaustion and just mental health concerns because things that you're trying to do take a long time. It really affects all of us, and it affects the CEOs and founders of some of the biggest companies in the world when they first started out. So it's not just us.
I have to just say, Fred, what Bill said, he had that and he's still facing it 7.5 years later.
Yeah. Uh, well, you got 2.5 years more to go to catch up to Google because it's been 10 years to get anywhere. But yeah, it just you wake up every morning and you feel you haven't gotten any further than you did the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before, and it creates this uncertainty in this environment that we just can't seem to get out of. And it affects not only us, but it can affect the relationships that we have with our the team members, and any investors that we might have, even the loved ones at home. People really uh, get upset with us or make us second guess whether we're doing the right thing by doing what we're doing, and you end up doubting yourself, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's happening to everybody, not just you. It's happening to me. It's happening to almost every single founder. No, every single founder that I've ever met, no matter how big their company is now. And these are things that we can try to avoid or try to minimize. And I'm going to give you some pointers regarding minimizing some of these things that cause that founder fatigue. All right, Tessa, do you have any
Yes.
questions?
I don't have any questions, but you bring up a good point. If you guys have any comments over in the chat, if you do have questions, or I know we have Vanessa said it's really hard. It's been slower than she thought, but she knows everything is worth achieving. It's worth hanging in there for. Let me see if I can stumble over that well enough. But I don't think there's any questions yet. But I mean, I know you went over a couple of the points, but
Yeah.
I might have missed. So it's your health, your well-being, your relationships, productivity, and decision-making is what you said. It impacts all of those.
Yeah. Decision making, productivity, health, well being, and relationships. Yeah, everything. It affects every single thing in your life. And both the things that are dealing directly with the company you're trying to build, and all the things around that, with friends, relationships, everything. People who've invested in you, for example. I have
Yes.
a couple of our founders that are dealing with some early investors that are like, "Hey, where's my money?" And it's hard, and it's even harder when some of those investors are family and things like that, because they don't understand the pain that you're experiencing.
That's true.
They're just like, I gave you money and I want that money back. They don't understand what you're going through, because there's nothing better that you would like to have in the world than to be able to give them their money or to go to the next step in your company. And sometimes when people look at you as an outsider, they don't realize what you're going through yourself. And so the way to get to your goals is to recognize when this is starting to happen to you, this founder fatigue. There's a phrase for it, right? And for a reason, because it's very common. And recognize when it's coming and take some proactive steps to avoid it. And I'm going to give you a couple of pointers right now on that.
Perfect. And we do, like Fred said, have a blog, and he wanted me to put the blog up early so that you guys can go to it. So if you need any of these, anything that we're covering, I am going to give you a post in here, but don't leave us just yet. But I have to say, before you go into that, Fred, you brought up a really good point on the relationships, and how investors say that, why aren't things progressing? But it is the relationships too. And I don't know if anyone in the audience, you might have supporting loved ones that are there for you on these things, but you may not. So one of the things that I see founder fatigue is when other people, like family members, are like, why don't you just go get a job? I don't know if anyone else has felt that in their life.
Yeah, ask them while I go get my charger, because I'm going to miss the other half of the show if I don't get it.
Okay, Fred, go get your charger. I'll take over while you're here.
Oh,
But guys, let me know in the chat. I know, Tri Grant, you have like spouse that's amazing and that's there with you, but I'm curious if anyone has had that happen where the person says, why don't you just go get a job? There's so much stability in it, and you just cringe and have to keep going. You don't have that problem because you explained it's going to take a long time. That's good. Yep, you get that directly from Fred, huh? But I think it's hard. It's not just, burnout happens. It can happen to all of us, but I do know that that's a big one, and it's hard to make it through that. And Fred's coming back with his charger right now. So do you guys have any of those similar situations? Let me know which one of those things you might be experiencing now. Is it wearing out? A lot of us have jobs too. Yes, I know. I was fortunate to be able to make my passion my business, and Fred has worked with me for a long time to make that a possibility. But it's hard when you have a job too. Now you add burnout to like just sheer lack of time.
Yeah. So how do we avoid it? And and let me see some of those
Oh, you want to see
comments.
some of the comments?
Yeah. All
Yes.
right. I saw them. Okay.
Aw.
So the first thing to do to really start trying to avoid it is to realize that it's coming. And it's going to happen to all of us, but you can feel it. You know, when you wake up those days and you're more stressed out than normal, you're having things happen to you that just aren't working right. So you can see that it's coming, and it's really critical for your long-term success that and your well-being that you start taking care of those things. One of the key things in it that I always work with, and the things that I'm doing are like everybody else, very hard, but they're multiplied because I'm feeling the same pain that others feel because I'm a partner in a lot of different companies. So not only am I feeling the growing pains of IdeaPros, but feeling the growing pains of a lot of our partners that are going through different moments in their own growth period. So the very first thing that I like to try to do when I wake up is not try to eat the whole elephant at once. It's the old saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So you really need to set realistic goals and prioritize those goals. By not doing that, you start overwhelming yourself because there's always way too many things to do. So if you can start breaking down the larger goals that you have into smaller achievable tasks, then you can start handling them and you focus on the most important ones, right? The goal is this big, a task
Mhm.
is this big. And so if you realize that your goal is going to take 14 tasks to achieve or 40 tasks to whatever it is, start working. That's Charlie, Charlie's butt. Hey, Charlie. Uh, that those are things that you need to achieve one task at a time. So instead of looking at that whole goal, look at the components of it and try to prioritize them and hit them one at a time. And that's going to get you a lot further and faster, but it's going to make you manage that bigger, vaguer goal by addressing the individual tasks between it. Outline. Here's
I
my
was gonna say,
goal.
do you begin with the end in mind and work your way back
Sure.
typically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how I do it too,
Yeah.
personally. I'm like, where do I have to get to? And what does each step take? Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And then the second thing, and I'm guilty of this a lot, but fortunately I have a good team around me. Delegate, learn to delegate. Get support from the people around you that are working with you, even if you're just talking to an advisor, a mentor, any of your peers that may not even be directly associated with your business. Um, Having a support system in place is something that is very, very powerful. In fact, we just started something called the boardroom for our partners who have launched their products now, and we had our first meeting last Friday, and there was a lot of uh, warmth in being able to be in a room with a bunch of other people going through similar type experiences and getting the support, feedback, and encouragement and advice from people around you who are going through those things. So join a local CEO club, or they even have online groups or something. Get a support system in place and try to get one or two people working with you, even for a little bit of stock in the beginning, so you can delegate some of these things that you're doing as the kind of proverbial one-armed paper hanger who's trying to do everything on their own, and you're going to get stressed out because you can't do everything on your own. The other thing that I'm really poor at, because before we went live, Tessa said, "Hey, Fred, are you working tomorrow?" And she said, "Oh, you don't have to answer that. I know." Like, I literally work 7 days, and it's not a good thing to do. Um, and when we do that, we end up getting frustrated. We end up getting that towards burnout, and we get into that founder fatigue component of it that is really dangerous. So take breaks, take rest periods, even in the middle of your day. If you don't ever get up off your desk and have lunch in a proper way, sit up, go outside, walk around 15, 20 minutes, just break up your day a little bit and kind of try to refocus. You want to prioritize things like exercise, meditation, spending some time with your family, and getting away a little bit, even if it's for short periods of times. When you do that, you can rewind, you can regroup, and refresh yourself. Okay, that's really important. Vanessa, she's a retired RN. Yeah, go back to the workforce. Vanessa, that's, you know, your family and all of our families have very good intentions. They really do, and they think they want the best for you. I have someone really close to me whose family is telling her the same thing. Go get a regular job. What are you doing? You're wasting away your life. But it's really the people that have gone through the pain that we're all going through that are the only ones that change the world, whether it's in a small way or in a big way. We are the outsiders. We are the people that others don't understand. Nobody understands why you walk away from a 40-hour work week where you have regular pay and benefits and go work 80 hours, 100 hours, 120 hours with no pay and no benefits and lots of aggravation. We do that because we're meant to do that. We were born to do that. And you can't expect to always get positive feedback from family members who think they're giving you the best advice because that's the world that they grew up in. I can tell you this, there's not one of those family members that's giving you that advice that's an entrepreneur. Because if it's an entrepreneur that's in your family, they're going to tell you the opposite. They're going to tell you, keep it up, don't quit, just keep rolling. As Levi said, rich dad, poor dad, right? The empowerment and enablement that can take place when you have somebody who's been through what you're going through is very, very powerful. Don't listen to people who haven't ever stepped outside of their comfort zone, because they see that you're outside your comfort zone. You're way outside their comfort zone, and all they're going to do is try to pull you back into that little box that you don't really want to be into. Okay, so make sure. Tessa.
Oh, I'm on mute. I know by the look on Fred's face immediately. So Levi mentioned, sometimes you work on stuff that don't know how to do when you're not sure of what to do in your business, and that's like my epitome of procrastination. I think it's, hey, I know how to do this. I'll go over here and do this. So it's hard because you get derailed. And then another thing that Robert said that I just wanted to point out, when you were talking about getting together with groups, he mentioned group therapy. That's really what I think the boardroom for our launch partners, that's really what it is too. But there's lots of groups where you can get in and just, not vent, but it's problem solving together. So I had to bring that up too.
Yeah, I mean, every community has some sort of entrepreneur group, whether it's one of these young business groups or any of those things. A lot of them is just hors d'oeuvres and hand out cards, but you find one that has more to it than that, and that's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, masterminds, they're more often called masterminds, or I know you're part of a group. I'm part of a group where it's all, your C-level. So you're dealing with problems, not trying to network. So, but the support system and having good people around you, of course, Odin, yes, that's what you need.
Yeah. The other thing on trying to avoid that, you have to practice time management. And when we wake up in the morning as entrepreneurs of a startup, we have all these things in front of us and all these problems that have piled up on our shoulders, and it's hard to get over them. So if we can get together and put together an effective time management system where we're talking about prioritizing, as I said, tasks, setting deadlines, establish boundaries to make sure that you have a good work-life integration that, again, I'm guilty of. We're going through a lot of things right now as we're evolving the company, and so I feel like I don't have time to take a day off, and that's a problem. I'm going to take off Sunday. I swear I'm going to do.
Good for you. I'm glad.
And then really the last thing is always, even on the hardest days, seek inspiration and learning opportunities. You can always grow more. You can always learn more. With AI now, you can ask almost any question in the world and get really comprehensive answers that can affect you. Even something like this, where you're sitting here and listening to me, and I'm telling you that what you're experiencing is very common. That in and of itself creates some measure of comfort, knowing that you're not in this alone. And that's really the things you can do with the conferences and, as I said, networking with other entrepreneurs that can really do two positive things. Number one, feel better about where you are. And number two, start this process of lifelong learning. And with lifelong learning, Levi, to your point, there are things that you need to learn, but there are ways that you can learn them now by joining some of these groups and associating with other entrepreneurs.
Awesome. And I think we're coming out with something similar for us, not just on the boardroom, or, not just the launch partners, but that's in the works. And I don't have any full details about it yet. But you mentioned time management. I do have Odin he has worked with me on time management before, and I actually have him for one of the shows, Fred. So we'll see which ones while I'm gone, Fred's going to actually be doing some content with me so we can put that up while I'm in Africa. But guys, I think this was helpful. Let me know in the chat. Just give me thumbs up or yes if you feel like this was helpful. And it's just good to know that there's other people in that boat with you. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah. And by the way, in the blog, there's
Yes.
a FAQ section. We're going to talk about 6 common questions about founder fatigue. The first one, I'll give you a hint. Is it a common phenomenon? You bet it is. And so go through it and you'll see you're not alone. We're all going through this. Oh, we already got it up?
I did get it. It's not pretty, guys. And literally I had 8 minutes to create this. 8.
Well, there you go. Good time management, Tessa.
Right. Yes.
Right. So that's all we have for today, guys. But seriously, whatever you're feeling, I'm feeling it. Tessa's feeling it. Everybody that's watching or that will be watching this is feeling it. Because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a founder, if you're just starting something that didn't exist before, it's like giving birth. Except a little bit less predictable. But it's painful, but in the end, it's going to be worth it.
Now I'm picturing that. My goodness. That's a good analogy, though. It's a very good analogy. Thank you, Fred. We'll be seeing you guys next week. I'm going to let you fall off. That sounds lovely. I'm going to go ahead and let you fall off, Fred. And then I'm just going to take a second to make sure that I said hi to everyone over here. I know I missed some of the comments. They go by real quickly. So it's so good to see you all. Mary, I know we have Kyle and we have Grunt and Kelly and Sean Reed, everyone. I know you guys show up every single week. Robert, great to see you. And Mark, we'll get you as much help as we can. I'm so sorry. I heard that you are hacked. I apologize. That's awful. I apologize. It wasn't me, but I feel bad that it happened for you. We can help though. Yes, I'm a master of troubleshooting and solving problems. I'll put my sleuth hat on and try to see what we can do for you. No worries. Vanessa, and I have Vanessa's product. And Vanessa, just let me know in the chat if you want me to show it off right now or not. If you want to come on to the show, we can always do that too. But I have her physical product here, which I am excited to actually do an opening of. I was moving and I stashed it away and now I found it. And so I can do it. Right, Mary? It's giving birth. It's so funny. Bill over at Goliath Sports. Let me say this again. Bill over at goliathsportschair.com. You can go check it out. And this is an awesome product. You definitely need to check it out. If you have to watch kids in sports and there's always those people that are in your way, this is the best chair for it, for sure. And he's actually doing pre-orders so that you can get it when it's ready. Oh, thanks, Levi. Yes, I'm heading off to Africa. Oh, wish me luck. Literally, we'll be, the next 2 shows will be airing. They will be recorded. However, Fred and our team will be in the chat live with you. So it will be live at the normal time, pending all things go well, which I'm hoping everything goes off without a hitch. And so I'm happy practicing it. You may see some random shows go up throughout the week just to make sure that it goes when it's supposed to. But I just really appreciate you guys being here week every week and showing us support by being here. If you could do us one little favor and tell me what it is that you want to learn about, put that in the chat because I can get guests. I know I saw Dr. Clarice over there. We have a PR expert. I still haven't been able to pin her down yet to get her on the show, but I am going to get that. She's amazing. She works in TV and kind of like speaking, coaching, and helping you to figure out how to word what it is that you do so that the PR will pick it up. She's coming down the pipeline. Anything else that you guys want to learn about, you just tell me in the chat. If that's advertising, if you want to know about ads, what else do we have? SEO. I mean, I have about 1 million things that I could teach you guys. Obviously, how to do graphic design, how to do social media posts. What is it that you need in your business? Maybe you need to know what accounting to do. I don't know. I will find an expert if we need it. More about the branding and social media strategies. Yes, I would love to. I have lots of information about that. In fact, we have a workshop coming up in July. So I will make sure to, if you're interested and you want to grow your audience or your social media and get that really going, just let me know, put social media in the chat and I will send over information about that to you. I'm excited. And as always, I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed week, and I will see you on the flip side of my trip. And I should be posting on Facebook if I have service. I'm not 100% sure, but I will take lots of pictures for you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye. Social media for Levi. I got you. There's a lot of opportunities there. I'll send you our workshop information. All right. Hey, Stacy. Nice to see you here. I haven't seen you chat here before. It's good to have you. I will. I promise. I'm going to Zambia, and I promise I'll be careful. I'll fly safe. Bye, everyone.